Okay, it's 8:31. Thank you all very much for joining our event. Let's begin. So, thank you all, like I said, for joining our event. In this event, we will be discussing the importance of improving our public speaking skills. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Uh, so, let's first hear from a quote of a song I'm sure everyone has heard before. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs, but he keep on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud. He opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. Sounds familiar, right? So if anyone here are fans of early 2000s hip hop, they may recognize the above quote from Eminem's 2002 song Lose Yourself, which is a soundtrack of the movie 8 Miles. But you may also recognize the above symptoms within yourselves if you have ever had to speak in front of a huge crowd and felt your own heart pounding, your hands sweating, your arms being heavy, and so on. But, as you soldier on and continue on with your speech, something amazing starts to happen. People actually starts to listen, right? They ask some questions, they lean in, you make eye contact, and you feel a connection with the audience. And before you realize it, you have already given your speech. And that's the real magic of good speaking. It turns nerves into influence. And to discuss this topic, today we will have 6 student speakers from different schools here at USM. Myself, Alex, Anik, Anyi, Sarah, Kweyung, Hasifa. And very fortunately, we are delighted to be joined by 2 guest speakers as well, Muhammad Airul Afzan and Li Ling Hui, both of which will share with us their personal experiences with speaking in public. So, today, what we're discussing is we're focusing on 2 main types of speaking, mainly informative and persuasive speaking. So, what exactly is the difference? Well, informative speaking is all about sharing knowledge clearly, which is something I'm sure we're all familiar with, like when you're giving a class presentation, a book review, explaining your own research projects, something like that. And persuasive speaking, on the other hand, is when you're trying to convince someone, like the name implies, right? Being persuasive. So maybe this happens during a debate, a job interview. I'm sure we'll have plenty of that in a few years to come. Or, just pitching an idea to a team once you do actually get the job. Both are very powerful tools and both show up more often in life than you might expect. So, why are we learning these skills? Why are we honing these skills? Because being a strong speaker can really change the game. In school, like we mentioned, it helps you stand out in presentations, but also in class discussions, and even may get you or grant you some student leadership roles. And in the workplace, it's one of the top skills your employer will look for. Because if you can speak well to your bosses, you can lead well. That means you can lead the team, you can collaborate with others, you can build trust with everyone around you. It's not just about sounding good in a meeting or sounding good in a presentation. It's about having the skill to think clearly, having the skill to connect with people, and showing confidence while you do it. And this is exactly what we are covering today. We will break down the basics of informative and persuasive speaking, explain what exactly are these 2 things, and we will talk about how speaking skills will help us both in academic life as well as our future careers. And like I mentioned, we will have 2 guest speakers. One is actually an MC, and another our own USM debating team's debater, competitive debater, as they both share their personal stories and lessons for us to hear and learn from. So, by the end, you'll see that speaking is a skill that anyone can learn and anyone can benefit from. And hopefully, you'll be inspired to take your next step forward. Thank you. Let's hear from the rest of our speakers.
Okay, so hello. My name is Muhammad Anik from the School of Mathematics. And for this, I'm going to present about the informative speaking part of public speaking, about how to build confidence and clarity when giving an informative speaking. So, how is everyone doing? If there's anything, maybe a reaction to let us know how you guys are doing. Great, thank you. So, so I'm going to talk about informative, specifically how we can build clarity and confidence when delivering informative speeches. This side of speaking plays a crucial role in both academic and professional settings, and mastering it can significantly enhance how effectively we communicate ideas. So, let's begin with the purpose and structure of informative speeches. At their core, informative speeches are designed to share knowledge and understanding. Unlike persuasive or motivational speeches, the goal here is not to change opinions or prompt action, but simply to explain or describe something clearly. A speaker becomes the guide to convey information. It guides people to tell them what something that they want to know, something that they don't know. We want to make it clear for them, helping the audience grasp a concept, process, or maybe an issue that's happening all around us. A well-structured informative speech typically includes an introduction to introduce a topic, a body with clear main points, supported by evidence or examples, and a conclusion to reinforce and summarize all the key ideas that is taught during the speech. This structure keeps the message focused and digestible, helping the audience follow along and retain what they've learned. One of the familiar examples of informative speaking that I'm sure we all here, all of us are students and we are very familiar. We even had this kind of informative speech even during school, which is the lecture. Whether it's a professor explaining cell biology or a high school teacher breaking down historical events, teaching is fundamentally a form of informative speech. Instructors organize their content, clarify complex ideas, and use examples and visuals to help students understand and remember the material. So every time you're listening to a lecture or delivering one in a tutoring session or a group presentation, you're experiencing informative speaking in action. Okay, now let's look more broadly at academic applications. Effective speaking is a vital skill for students. Whether you're giving a class presentation, explaining a lab report, or proposing project ideas, the ability to convey information clearly is essential. These situations require more than just reading off slides. You need to explain, you need to engage and guide your audience through your ideas um, and to make them better understand what you're talking about. In many courses, your grade may depend not just on what you know, but how well you can communicate it to others. Strong informative speaking can boost your performance in group work, conferences, and even future teaching roles for those in education or wanting to become a teacher or a tutor. Now, let's go to one of the techniques in informative speaking, which is clarity. So, how can we use clarity to improve informative speaking? So, clarity means that you are using easy to understand language, precise language. Avoid overly technical terms unless you define them, and speak in a comfortable, deliberate pacing. Pausing for emphasis or to let complex points sink in also improves clarity. Secondly, logical flow. Your ideas should have a clear path, which each point connecting naturally to the next one. One use transitions like firstly, on the other hand, or finally to guide your listeners through the structure. When your ideas flow well, your audience can stay focused and absorb the material more easily instead of jumping around and then we don't have a clear path for our what we want to present. And then next is through supporting visuals like slides, diagrams, or charts can strengthen your message, but only when used thoughtfully. Keep your visuals simple and clear. Use them to highlight or clarify your points, not to overload your audience with text. So basically, if you were to give an informative speech without these visual aids, it's like you are reading a textbook without diagrams. It's just a wall of text. And I imagining it makes me think that if I were to read that kind of textbook, I would like to throw it away because it's so boring. So, in summary, informative speaking is a powerful way to share knowledge clearly and confidently, whether you're giving a class presentation, delivering a lab report, or teaching in front of a group. You're engaging in informative speech. By understanding its structure and applying techniques like clarity, logical flow, and use of visuals, we can become more confident communicators in both academic and professional environments. Thank you. I will pass on to the next speaker.
All right, nice to meet you all. So Lim Ani, so I will continue to talk about what this means by persuasive speaking. So that could influence the integrity. So what is actually about the persuasive speaking? So speaking is actually the art of using the words, your voice, and your body language to convince an audience to think, to feel, or act in a certain way. The symbols say that the speaker is aimed to convince the audience to accept a particular perspective on a person, a place, an object, or idea. So I'll be going to talk, All right, so it is very important for persuasions in the leadership, debates, and also interview. So for the leadership, a great leader does not just issue a command, but they also try to inspire and try to motivate and persuade the other to have a common and same visions and objective to achieve a goal, to actually build trust and credibilities with the others, and also try to influence the others to make the decisions. So while it also important in debate. So in almost every public form of speaking, debate is actually the only stage where speakers accumulate all their information and confident to persuade judges that the other side and their values are actually less important. Hence, the speaker is always need to be critical, and also when they speak, they need to be logical, and also they need to persuasive, which cannot find this kind of form in other public speaking, and somehow is benefit because the speaker are allowed to voice out their disagreement by persuading, pointing out different kind of opinions while becoming more confident and allow them to express their idea persuasively, to assess different point of view in each round who might not believe the same thing as they do. So next, the third one, which is it also benefits in interviews by using the Aristotle triad, including ethos, pathos, and logos. So later I will be covering this. So it's implementing this persuasive appeal in a persuasive speech in job interview is a very common practice. So whenever you want to interview for a job, persuasive speaking will always help you to stand up. Why I say that? Because it helps you to learn how to speak clearly, and you also can learn how to maintain the eye contact with the interviewer, and also it can help you to control your nervous habits. It's you can also know how to use the data and result to prove your value. Right. Yeah, so Aristotle is also give a timeless framework. Like just now, I did mention this Aristotle triad, is which is ethos, pathos, and logos. So ethos actually means by credibility. It will always answer the questions about why I should trust you. So the people who persuade safe speakers, they want to try to convince the audience that the speaker is actually trustworthy, knowledgeable, and credible. So for example, as a climate scientist who has spent the last 15 years studying in a global temperature trend, so he can tell you the evidence is overwhelming. So because of his profession, so we will give our trust to him, right? So while confident speaker who avoid the slang and also present himself with poise, build credibility through delivery alone. While for pathos, it also means by emotion. So it connect with the heart. Imagine that you are pitching an idea to improve the mental health in school. Instead of using statistics, it's actually quite boring, right? So you could start with a story of a student who actually silently struggle with this kind of mental health, so it can build an emotional engagement with your audience and how your idea can actually make a difference. So it shows the emotional connections will actually move the people heart and also gain the attentions for them. While the logo is actually means biological. So it is actually the structure and evidence behind your message. A speaker is trying to use reasoning, evidence, facts, data, or clear thinking to convince the audience that an argument is actually making sense. This is because most people are more likely to trust, to believe, and support your message when it's backed by proof, clear reasoning, or logical structure. For example, in a debate, if you want to argue for renewable energy, you can use data or like cost efficiency, long-term savings, or environmental impact. So while logos will strengthen your argument by showing that it actually makes what you argue is actually makes sense. So in conclusions, when you blend these ethos, pathos, logos together, your message will become more trustworthy, heartfelt, and rational, which shows a powerful combination. All right, so here's our going to talk about some tips on how to speak more persuasively with integrity. So first of all, which is storytelling. Tell us stories. So storytelling are the most powerful force on the planet to connect, persuade, influence our mindset and behavior. You know, like in this world cluttered with forgettable, lackluster message, stories actually make us more memorable. Not only that, but stories also create a powerful connections between the storyteller and the story listener. As you hear a story unfold, your brainwave actually start to synchronize with those of the storyteller. So the greater the listener comprehension, the more closely the brainwave patterns mirror each other's. So the stories are also proved to affect the behavior, like healthcare context, for example. So people are more likely to make change to their lifestyle and also their health habit if they see a character they relate to making the same change. So if you want to get anything, you should learn how to give a good storytelling. All right. Besides, you should also tailor your message according to your target audience. So how? So before qualifying your to tell anything, you must deeply understand your audience problem and pursuit. So the problem is actually means by where they are right now. It's the issue that they're facing in their current state and how they feel about it. The pursuit is where they want to be. It's who they want to be, and it's how they will feel in this future perfect world. Lastly, and also the most important part, deliver your speech with confidence. You may have the best ideas in the world, but if you're mumbling, avoid eye contact, your message will actually lose the powers. Therefore, you should stand tall, making the eye contact, voice speak out, and use pause to emphasize. Speak as if you believe in what you are saying, because if you don't, why should the other listen to you, right? Okay, so in the end, persuasive speaking isn't just about winning an argument or getting your way, it's also about making people try to feel, to think, and act. So the next time when you speak, remember to influence with integrity. Use ethos to build trust, pathos to stir emotion, and logos to make it all make sense. Thank you. So I'll pass to another speaker, Sarah.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. So let's be honest, speaking in front of people can be intimidating. As a university student, I used to think that as long as I studied hard and got good grades, I'd be fine. But over time, I realized something important. How you express your ideas matters just as much as what you know. Whether it's giving a class presentation, participating in a discussion, or leading a student group, your voice plays a big role in your success. There are three parts I want to share with you today. First, I'll explain how speaking plays a role in academic success. Then I'll highlight some key benefits of strong communication skills. And finally, I'll share a few practical take-home tips to help you become a more confident and effective speaker. Public speaking gives your ideas life. It's how you show people what you know, what you believe in, and why it matters. And it's not just for drama classes or debate competitions. Good speaking skills show up everywhere in the university, whether it is explaining your ideas clearly in a group project, asking thoughtful questions in lectures, or giving a presentation that actually lands with your audience. When you're able to speak with clarity and confidence, something shifts. People start listening and they will start to trust and understand you. And eventually, you'll start believing in your own voice too. So let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're a top student, you have done well throughout your university journey, always giving your best. Then final year comes along and you spend weeks working on your thesis day and night, making sure every detail is solid. And you're proud of it. Then comes your thesis defense. You walk in thinking, okay, I got this. But the moment you start speaking, your voice shakes and your thoughts get jumbled. You know your topic better than anyone else in the room, but you just can't explain it well. Then the panel would start asking questions, not because you're wrong, but because they don't understand you as your delivery doesn't match the quality of your thesis. It's frustrating, honestly. So you woke up thinking, how did I spend all this time preparing and still end up sounding unsure? It makes you feel like all your effort just isn't worth it. Then that's when it hits you. It's not just about doing the work, it's about communicating it well. The harsh reality is speaking skills are essential in university life, whether you like it or not. In oral defenses, your ability to clearly explain your work can be just as important as the work itself. Even if your thesis or project is strong and if you can express your ideas confidently, it may leave the wrong impression. Similarly, in classroom discussions, speaking up, whether is it to ask a question or share your thoughts, helps you to engage more deeply with the material. And it shows the lecturers that you're actively thinking and also participating. Beyond the classroom, communication plays a huge role in student leadership and teamwork. Whether you are leading a meeting, presenting ideas in a group project, or organizing an event, how you communicate affects how others respond to you. Students who speak clearly and confidently tend to stand out. not because they talk the most, but because they can express their ideas in a way that's easy to understand and connect with. And at the end of the day, students who speak up, who take the chance to express themselves, often leave a stronger impression. Not because they're louder or more outgoing, but because they're able to connect their knowledge to their voice. And that ability helps them to stand out in a really good way. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a TED Talk pro overnight, but here are a few tips that help me and hopefully it would help you too. First, you can speak once per class. Just raise your hand and ask a question or make a simple comment. Second, you can try practicing saying out loud. Don't just read your notes in your head, but try to say them. Or try to pretend that you're explaining a concept or anything that you're learning to a friend. Third, you can record yourself. In the beginning, it's obviously awkward, but it helps you to notice your pacing, your filler words, and your clarity. Fourth, you can opt to join something. Debate teams, Toastmasters, or student clubs. Anyway, you can practice speaking in a low pressure setting. Lastly, reflect after you speak. What went well or what didn't? That reflection helps you grow faster than you actually think. So speaking well doesn't mean being loud or dramatic. It means being understood. Because in the university and in life, your ideas deserve to be heard. So start practicing now, one sentence at a time, one class at a time. You've already had the voice, so now is the time to use it. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, so good evening to everyone. My name is Muhammad Amal Koyum, and I will continue with public speaking for career development. First of all, I'm sure that you guys have learned new things about speaking from the speakers before me, where it could impact your life if you really develop the speaking skills. But do you guys know that those skills are not only functional to your daily life, but it will also impact your career and working life? I guess you guys might be wondering how those skills could be helpful for career building, right? So allow me to break piece by piece to all of you. Firstly, I would like to quote a phrase from a study that had been done by Islam Janova in 2025, where he mentioned that effective communication is a cornerstone of success in today's workplace, and public speaking is one of the most vital skills that professionals can develop. The ability to articulate thoughts clearly and persuasively can significantly impact your career trajectory. So from this research, what did he mention? He said that these skills will help you to build your own figure, as one of the advantage of learning effective speaking skills is it could build your confidence to talk and surely will help you to comfortably communicate and work with others. Hence, when you are already have the confidence to talk with others, it will significantly help you to gain visibility and authority when you are speaking. Furthermore, if you have good communication skills where you could talk with others and express what is in your mind without making the situation awkward or strange, it will boost your recognition and people around you will start to admire and have respect towards you. Well, this is not the end point. So imagine this is you. Let's say that you have an interview for the job or a company that you have been dying to work for. Having the public speaking skills could help you to ensure that the interview session went smoothly as you are prepared for this situation. Why did I say that you are prepared? So, first of all, these skills require the ability to speak up the thoughts that you had in your mind. I'm pretty sure that most of us will have this problem where we have the sentence or something to say in our mind, but in reality, those words never come out. This is where these skills come in hand because it will help you to enhance your ability to speak up those unspoken words. On the other hand, let's imagine that you are leading a group for an event. As a leader, you need to be the figure of the team and also the core to lead them for the planning session until the end of the event. As a leader, you need to pitch the idea and form a path for them to create the planning. Usually, this work requires critical thinking skills, right? But don't be surprised if I said that public speaking skills also will enhance your critical thinking skills. It is because the more confident you are when you are speaking, more questions from the audience will come, and this will help you to develop critical thinking skills. And because of that, it will help you go through your adulting world or developing your career. As for now, I assume that you guys are already thinking on how to improve your speaking skills, right? In that case, please allow me to continue with some suggestions that could help you improve your speaking skills. First of all, the easiest way that you guys could do is randomly speak formally with your friends. By doing this, you guys will be more comfortable speaking, and this will be a good starting point for those who do not have any speaking skills or experience in speaking at all. The next suggestion is you guys could join any public speaking club, or if there any mock interview, make sure that you guys do it seriously, as it will help you guys to build this skill. Or maybe if you guys are loaded with money, you could go for coaching and learn it from the expert in that area. Another one is that I suggest you guys to be active with those clubs or any association that are built around you. As a student, I'm pretty sure that your university has lots of clubs and associations, so don't be afraid to join and be active in those clubs and associations. The reason is because it will significantly help you to learn how to communicate and work with others. This environment will help you to enhance your speaking skills. So last but not least, do not forget to practice your speech even if you are alone or with your friends. Try to make it a habit to speak formally and think outside the box. All the best to all of you. So that's all from me.
Okay, thank you everyone that has spoken. I'm sure we have all learned a lot of skills and knowledge that's very interesting and could be beneficial to our own academic and real lives. Next, let's hear from some people that have actually put these skills to practice in their own lives. First, please welcome our guest speaker number one, a real professional MC who has MC and presented events instead of me just presenting a student organization event here. So let's hear from Muhammad Airul Afzan.
All right, hello everyone. Thank you, Alex, for inviting me. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce myself first. Assalamualaikum and very good evening to everyone. My name is Muhammad Airul Afzan bin Azlan, but you guys can call me as Afzan. I am the third year students from English Language and Literature Studies exactly in from School of Humanities. And for today, I have been invited as one of the guest speaker who are involving in MC World. So, as an event MC, I have navigated the highs and lows of public speaking. And in the next, or after this, I would like to share my insights on building confidence, handling pressure, overcoming stage fright, and the real world value of speaking agility. So, without further ado, I would like to start first with my personal journey to confidence. So, for your information, um, public speaking didn't always come naturally to me. So, I remember the first time I held a microphone, what I feel my heart is raised, my thoughts scattered, and I wish I could disappear. So, for your information, my first event in USM when I was first year students, I was involving in informal MC, or I've been as an informal MC in Malam Bumi Kenyalang 2023. All right. So that was the first program and also the biggest program that I've ever involved as being an informal MC. So, but through the experience in this particular program, the preparation and learning to embrace the unexpected. So, what I do is I transformed fear into confidence. So today, I will share a few key strategies that help me along the way. So, there are two key strategies that I'm always implement in myself, which is the first one. The key strategies is preparation is power. So, um, what I'm going to say is the more prepared you are, the less nervous you will feel. All right. So you need to make a research. You need to make more research about your content, and also you need to practice delivering it multiple times in front of a mirror, in front of your friends, and somehow you can also uh, practicing with your roommate as well. All right. So you also need to anticipate possible questions or challenges. All right. And the next one is reframe nervousness as excitement. Yes, I'm sure that everyone, if you are going to presenting, you are being an MCs for the event, the nervous is like is control ourselves, right? The nervous is so instead of learning mistakes, right? Somehow when we make a presentation or involved in MC, we also think like, oh, how can if I do a mistake, right? So instead of fearing a mistakes, so view speaking as an opportunity. It's not everyone have the opportunity to talk or to present in front of many people, right? So what I'm doing is uh, I will always take a deep breath before stepping on stage, right? So when I take a deep breath, it will heal my nervousness before I enjoy being as informal MC in the program. All right. So you need also to remind yourself. All right. Remind yourself that nerves mean you care about doing well. Right. And last, you need to convert the nervous energy into enthusiasm audience. So when you already get the energy many people, somehow many of us like we afraid to speak in front of many people, even though with our classmates. Can you imagine you can talk in front of 2 to 3,000 people in Dewan Tuanku Said Putra? So somehow it will help you to boost your confidence level, right? And the next thing now I would like to explain about the speaking under pressure. All right. So whether it's a wedding, a formal ceremony, or a high stakes corporate event, an MC must deliver with poise and professionalism. So in these moments, pressure is inevitable. Okay. But we still need to hold with the one key, which is the preparation. Preparation is a key. So knowing your audience, anticipating challenges, and staying adaptable helps maintain composure. And when all else fails, a deep breath and a well-timed smile can work wonders. All right, trust me. All right. So we move to the overcoming stage fright. So when we already on stage, we were so nervous. I never feel that nervous when I'm always be an MC in front of a lot of people. Okay, so stage fright isn't just about nervousness. Okay, so it's also about the self doubt. So the trick, what you can do is shifting focus from yourself to your audience. All right, instead of you always thinking about you are going to make a mistake, but why don't you just enjoy with your audience? All right. So how you can engage with them? No, how can you make your focus from yourself to the audience? Okay, you can ask them, are they engaged? Or you can make questions. You question them, are they engaged? Are they responding us? And connecting with them turns fears into purpose. All right. So a technique like visualization, grounding exercises, and rehearsing with real people have helped me, and they might help too. All right. So that is why the rehearsal before the program is very, very important, because you can improve first and you can make less of your business before you are going to perform, be an MC uh, on the days. All right. And last but not least, I want also to talk about the real world value of speaking agility. Right. So public speaking isn't just about standing on stage. Right. So it's about fractions, negotiation, leaderships, and also the connections. So being able to adjust your tone, pacing, and delivery to different settings is invaluable. Okay. So whether you are presenting in a boardroom, officiating a wedding, or simply holding a conversation, speaking agility opens door. So in a conclusion, public speaking is an art, and every experience refines it. Whether you are an aspiring MC or simply looking to communicate more effectively, confidence is within reach. All right. So the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. So thank you for your time, and thank you also for inviting me. So I hope these insights empower you guys to take the mic with your confidence. So that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much to Abzan. Let's give a round of virtual applause for Abzan, who have shared with us his own personal journey as an MC and how he turned his fears into confidence. I'm sure we can all learn a lot from his peaceful way of dealing with his own lack of confidence in the beginning. Now let's switch to another speaker who can perhaps tell us how she has defeat her enemies on the battlefield of the debate room and tell us how she has used her public speaking skills in her in her role as a part of the debate team at USM. Please welcome our next speaker, Li Ling Hui.
Oh wow, why put my picture like that? Okay. So greetings everyone. My name is Ling Hui, and I suppose you could say I'm a retired Malay debate speaker here in USM. And tonight I'm just here to share my experience, what it was like, what it taught me, and what it still matters to me. And firstly, if I'm being honest, I never set out to become a debater. I didn't grow up dreaming of standing in front of an audience, making strong logical points in Malay. I was just someone who somehow always finding herself pulled into the orbit of passionate people who love to think deeply, argue boldly, and challenge the status quo. So my first steps into the world of Bahas ala Parlimen, which is the Malay parliamentary style debate, began in secondary school. I represented my school for 3 years, not because I was particularly good, but because I enjoyed the adrenaline of discussion. I like the intellectual challenge, the strange motions, and even the stranger realizations that follow. We'd argue about things like international politics, social ethics, and sometimes the most bizarre what ifs that you can imagine. So for me, what makes debate so addictive isn't the clash of egos. It's actually the requirement to see beyond yourself. You never know if you'll be kerajaan, the government, or the pembangkang, opposition, until the day you arrive the scene. So you must be prepared for both sides. It trains you to break your own mental bubbles, to defend what you don't agree with, and to think from multiple perspectives. It's not about who is right or wrong. Debate taught me that in most issues, there is no absolute truth. Only who can frame their narrative well enough to convince the judges and the crowd to trust them. And then for me, then come university. In 2023, I actually joined the Bat Piala Night Chancellor, which is the debate among the different dorms in USM. I representing Siswaras too. So I found out that I was the only Chinese debater in the team and one of the just 3 Chinese students among all the inter-desa siswa teams. So of course, I felt very small. My comment of Malay had always been decent, but Bahas is a whole different language. So the rhythm, the tata bahasa, the political terms, the hidden cultural nuances, they hit like a brick wall. So, but that's where you learn that confidence doesn't come from waiting until you are ready. Confidence comes from doing the thing when you are not ready and letting the experience to shape you. So one of my most unforgettable moments happened during the semifinals. Originally, I was only the backup speaker for that round. That motion actually had been assigned weeks earlier, and I wasn't meant to present it. But last minute, roles switched. Roles were switched. Suddenly, I was the Perdana Menteri, which is the first speaker, the one tasked with the opening the floor, defining the motion, and setting the tone for the whole round. So I had just 2 hours to understand everything and memorize the speech. The whole night before, we stayed up in a random rented unit in Nibong Tebal, strategizing, rewriting, and fine-tuning every word. That moment already stretched me to my limit. And even though we lost that round, and a part of me still wonders if it was actually my fault, I remember that the judges told me after that I didn't sound robotic and that I delivered as someone who cared about the issue, that my Malay had improved so much from the last 2 rounds. So that meant the world to me. But it wasn't just praise. I still remember someone once called me a liability to the team because I wasn't as sharp, not as experienced, and not as fluent. And yes, that stung and it still stings. But I also learned that because you start slow doesn't mean that you will stay there forever. Debate forced me to sharpen my mind, my Malay, my memory, and my way of finding the tiniest loophole in an opponent's case. So that's why I wouldn't call myself a debater, but just someone who stayed long enough in the world of debates to absorb its lesson. Debate rewired the way I think. I no longer see events in isolation. I see a chain, a cause leading to another cause, influenced by context, perspectives, and power. I learned that you could shape any narrative from a single word. So in debate, every motion is actually broken down word by word. So what does this word imply? Is it neutral? Can it be framed to our advantage? That's what we do. So we analyze, we reframe, and rebuild. And it's not about who has more facts, it's about who can make the audience feel that your truth is closer to theirs. Then it also taught me structure, especially as the first speaker, Prime Minister. You opened with the motion, then you define the terms word by word, then you frame the direction of your team, you state the problem, and then you present your points in a flow that actually helps your team. Then the second and third speakers step in to refute, defend, and also to conclude. So there's actually a hidden flow or rhythm behind every good debate. Then for critical reasoning, it's the heartbeat of everything. You just don't throw points. You ask, why this? So what? What's next? And you connect all those ideas with nuance. Is the policy effective for this problem? Who benefits? Who is left behind? And what assumptions are we making right now? And that's why debate taught me to think in layers, to dissect assumptions and to question every consequences. And most of it all, it taught me how to speak informatively and persuasively. In informative speaking, I learned that the goal is to remove bias, to cross-check and to speak truthfully but clearly, to build understanding without confusion. And meanwhile, in persuasive speaking, the goal is to move people, to make them feel why your side matters. And sometimes, even when your points are very shaky, your energy, your delivery, and your presence will make people listen anyway. Okay, more than facts and structures, debate also gave me people. People like Yusri, Irfan, Azlan from Restu, our mentor, Kakmus, and Gigi, the tokoh siswa Kementerian Pendidikan in 2022. And So being among such sharp minds inspired me, not because I wanted to win, but because I wanted to learn and to keep up with them. So debate also isn't just about questioning ideas, but it is also about intellectual companionship. And I love that. Okay, now at the end of the day, what keeps me here isn't just the arguments or the applause. It's the fact that I, as a Malaysian Chinese, get to preserve and celebrate Bahasa Melayu by debating in it. And that I can stand here not just speaking Malay, but thinking, arguing, and feeling in Malay. That is a source of my quiet pride and what I learned from DP, and it is why I stayed. So thank you for the invite. I hope this is helpful enough. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Ms. Lee, for this definitely helpful explanation and very humble recounting of your own journey as a debater. So I'm sure we have all learned a lot from her. Like, for example, being calm, logical, and unbiased is definitely something we should strive for when we're debating instead of just being argumentative. So let's give a round of applause for our second guest speaker. And next, please welcome our next student speaker, Hasifa, in which she will recap all the key takeaways and key information we have shared so far.
So, hello everyone. Very meaningful and motivated speech from both our guest speaker, which is both of my friends, Errol Afzano, so Lim Ling Hui. I'm very proud of you guys. So today, actually, I'm going to just very simple, which is I'm going to conclude all of this and also call and actions for you guys for you to what to do. So let's be honest, speaking in front of others can be terrifying. Well, I know that's feelings all too well. For the longest time, I believe my opinions didn't really matter, but that people would not care what I would say, and I had to say. So I keep quiet, thinking, why about this? But here's why I come to understand: where your voice is just as powerful as your knowledge. So having a great ideas isn't enough if you can't express them, and that's exactly why we're here today to explore why speaking matters and how we can use it in form of persuade, inspire, and also how each of us can become more confident in communicator. We're starting from now on today's. So let's start with the obvious but often overlooked. Speakings play a major role in academic success, whether in presentations, class discussions, or thesis defense, or group works, or your voice is always part of the equations. Public speaking isn't just like for drama kids or debate teams, but it's a skill for all of us to learn and to grab the opportunity if we have a chance to get to know about public speaking is. So now imagine, sorry, next slide please. Now imagine if you are in a group project, you have come up with brilliant solutions to a major problem, but in times to present to the class, you freeze. Someone else in the group speaks confidently, but like even though their eyes wasn't the strongest, but the class listens, notes, and applauds, and suddenly your contributions is overlooked. Not because it wasn't good, but it's because it wasn't heard. That's when you realize having a voice doesn't mean having a voice means nothing if you can't voice out. So that's where informative speakings come in, where informative speaking is all about the clarity. Explaining something is a way that others truly understand. It could be in a class presentations or project proposals or just explaining your research to a peer. If you can guide your audience with a clear point, strong visuals, and logical flow, you don't just share your informations. You help people to learn, to truly understand, and develop new knowledge. And here's the truth: being a good speaker in a school makes you a stronger thinker. It sharpens your ability to structure your thought, reflect deeply and connect what you know to what others need to hear. That's a skill that goes way beyond beyond the classroom. But if you are not just trying to inform, what if you want to inspire? That's where the persuasive speaking comes in. Where the persuasive speaking is an art of making people feel things. People feel, think, and act differently. If what we use in a leadership's debate, interviews, even in everyday lives, and it's not about manipulations. It's about influencing with integrity. The foundation of a great persuasions comes from Aristotle's timeless trio, ethos, pathos, and logos, just like my friends and he had explained before. Put them all together, and you have a message that's credible, emotional, and rational, a message that people listen to and believe in. And here's a tips that change everything's for me. Storytelling. Well, is a recap. Telling stories is the most powerful way to connect with others. When you tell a story, people don't just hear your words, but they feel them. They remember them, they relate. In fact, science shows that our brain's waves start to sync when we listen to a story. That's how deep the connections goes. So next slide, please. So let's take a moment to recap the key takeaways from what we have heard today, and whether from me or from other speakers. So first, your voice is your power. So use it wisely, use it with confidence. That's where the knowledge begins. And informative speaking helps people to understand, where persuasive speaking helps people to feel and act. And the next one is use ethos, pathos, and logos to build trust, emotions, and logic in your message. And the next one is a storytelling is a powerful tool. It makes your message memorable. Always please remember that always deliver your speech in a storytelling form, so it's easier for audience to understand as well as remembers. And above all, speaking well isn't about perfections, it's about connections. So next slide, please. So now here's the parts that really matters, what you do after this. You have heard about the persuasive, um the storytelling something, and what to do. So today I challenge you to take just one small step. This already spoke by my friends Sarah by speak once per day. Sorry, speaks one per class. I mean, just to break the silence, maybe between you and your classmate, or between you or your lecturers, for you to understand well about the subject or the things that very important, like for me, I guess. So the next one is practice out loud. So speak like you're explaining to a friend, where when we explain to others, we actually explain it to ourselves actually. So we will gain the knowledge, and always we will easily to remember what we had teach people. So the next is join a club, where you can try a debate, Toastmasters, student councils, that's any space where you can grow. And lastly is to attend a workshop, where you can learn from others who is masters, just like our friends just now. Aero of Zines is very talented MC, and also my friends Ling Hui, very a strong debater. You can ask them questions, so you can try new things to develop your own skills. Soft skills is very important. And the next slide, please. And always remember this: speaking isn't just it's just a learnable skills. It's not something. Sorry, speaking is a learnable skills. It's not some things that you are born with or without. It's something you can build. One sentence, one moment, one voice at one time. You already have the idea worth sharing. You already have an experience worth telling. You already have a voice that so speak up because your voice is your power. Thank you.
Okay, again, a great thanks to our fellow student speakers as well as our guest speakers. I think Hasifa is really telling the truth when she says, speak up because your voice is your power. And that's something I think we can all take away with. We already have a voice, we already have the experience, we just need to find the confidence to put these two together. And 1 + 1 is always greater than 2. Okay, so now if you guys have any questions for any of our speakers today or just questions in general, you guys can just open your mic and ask them, or if you don't want to open your mic, you can put them in the chat box. So let's see if we have any questions, or perhaps you like to share something about yourself, share about your own speaking experience, or perhaps share a speaking goal that you may have or want to accomplish in the future. So like I said, just please open the mic to ask or put them in the chat box. Well, that's okay if you guys can't think of any questions right now, which really means that our presenters did a good job in answering and explaining everything, right? Okay, so like we mentioned, thank you so much, not just to our speakers, but to everyone that has shown up to support us in such a short notice. So a round of applause for everyone. And if you have any questions that you can't think of today or may think of at future times, you guys can contact us at this email address, publicspeaking101@gmail.com. So thank you all so much for showing up today. And please, we wish you having a great evening and a better weekend ahead. And that's all from us. Thank you again.
Should we take a group photo together?
Yes, sure.